Friends, welcome you back once again in geological knowledge. So in the previous few lectures we have talked about the previous year question papers and 2016, sorry, 2019, 18, 17. So 3 years paper we have discussed thoroughly, and I think now you would have understood the pattern and the type of questions, that how the questions are being modified and how you have to use your knowledge to answer the particular question. So sometimes question is the same question is being asked, but just because it has been modified, so you don't find yourself in that comfortable situation to write that answer. Okay, so that is the why we were discussing the previous year question papers. So that we have repeatedly been saying that will put a that will give you an idea that how you have to answer a particular question and what should be your approach while answering the question. Okay, so what has been asked in the question, that you have to answer, otherwise you will not be assigned mark for that particular answer. Okay, so that must, don't beat about the bush, you have to just give the answer, means the what has been asked in the paper on in the question, that you have to write down. Okay, so in the continuation of that series, today we will discuss another paper, that is of 2016 paper. Okay, so let's start our discussion. So firstly we will talk about the geology paper 1, in which we have what that. So paper 1 consists of physical geology, remote sensing, structural geology, geodynamics, stratigraphy and paleontology. Okay, so previously these were the topics in the geology paper 1, but now as you understand, that is in the new syllabus of 2020 syllabus, geodynamics, that has been moved to paper number 2, and sedimentology, that has been included in geology paper 1. Okay, so firstly we will talk about the compulsory section, and here you have been notified that describe the following in about 100 words each, means so the word limit that has been assigned 100 limits, 100 words. Okay, not more than that. Okay, so first is the levees and their role in flood control, means the natural levees and how they are significant in the controlling of floods. So we all know that is the natural levees on the sides of the river bank. So they natural levees which are formed by the deposition of the material, and they sometimes they get slopy in nature. So when the water quantity that increases in the river, so and such, if the situation has come that the flood condition has arrived, so natural levee, they help in controlling the flood. Okay, so that you have to write down. 1b is differences between the unsupervised and the supervised classification. So that is belonging to the remote sensing. Okay, digital image processing, in which you have to write down. 1c is mechanism of parasitic folds, means how the parasitic folds are formed, and what is the factors which you have to keep in mind while going for a parasitic folds, means what are. So parasitic folds, as we know, that is they are also known as the drag folds. Okay, so they may be defined as the minor folds which develop. Okay, so that we have, when we were discussing about the objective geology series, there we have discussed that how they are formed and how they are their structure is, means competent and incompetent rock beds. Okay, so competent rock beds, they get static, means there is no folding or there is no dragging, but in the incompetent beds, because they are weak in nature, so they are get folded. Okay, so dragged in nature, so that's why they are known as drag folds or parasitic folds. Okay, so that we have to write down. Question number 1d is dealing with the conditions leading to the progressive deformation, means what are the conditions which lead to the progressive deformation. One is concept of geodesy and crustal movement. and 1F is gravity anomaly of mid-oceanic ridges. So gravity anomaly of, particularly you have to write about the gravity anomaly occurring at the mid-oceanic ridges. Okay, so that we have to write. And the 1G, that is the Sargur cyst belt. So Sargur cyst belt, that when we will talk about, or when you will study about the Dharwar Craton or the Dharwar supergroup, so there you will you must have seen, or you must have understood, that is the Dharwar supergroup that lies, okay, so that lies or the rest towards the Sargur cyst belt. So that you have to write down. And 1H is the concurrent range zone. Okay, so there are several range zones, and concurrent range zones, about that you have to write down. And 1I is the Rajmundry formation. Rajmundry formation, where it's occurring, what is the rock systems, what are the stratigraphy of that particular formation, that we have to write about. And 1J is the derived fossils. So derived fossil means which are being derived from other materials or derived from other fossils. So that you have to write in detail. So all in all, the all 10 objectives or all 10 compulsory questions, I don't think they are very tough for you to attempt. Okay, so if you have understood the questions or understood the topics which have been given in the syllabus, then it will be very easy for you to answer these particular questions. Now we come back to the unit section. So section B, firstly we will talk about. So question number 2A, that is the compare the morphology of the landforms produced by glaciers and rivers. So I think these questions I have already discussed somewhere in 2018 or 17 paper. So question is repeated, and you have to compare the morphology and of the landforms. So means landforms which are produced by the glacier and the rivers activity. So what is their morphology, means how they are being formed, okay, and what are their forms, that how they are being formed in the nature, okay, the landforms, how they are formed. So you have to compare the morphology of glacial and rivers, or the landforms produced by these two natural agents. 2B is you have to explain the term spectral reflectance, that what is the spectral reflectance, and you have to also describe its significance, and also give a detailed account of the spectra of various rocks, vegetation and soil and water. So the spectral reflectance you have to describe firstly, then significance and detailed account of the spectra of various rocks, vegetation, soil and water, means in which spectral band they occur. So that you have to discuss in detail. So it's a long question and you have to write down accordingly. 3A is you have to explain the Davis cycle of erosion and landscape development. So Davis and Planck concept, that is the landscape evolution, so that we have to discuss. 3B is explain the causes and effects of the variation of scale in the aerial photographs, means how the variation in the scale of aerial photographs take place and what are the causes and the effects of these variations. Okay. 3C, that we have to give an account of the type of lineations and the role of remote sensing, their role in the remote sensing in mapping them. So types of lineaments and their role of remote sensing in the mapping them. So how the remote sensing helps in the mapping of the lineaments, so that we have to write down in detail. Section C, that we have to question number 4A. So discuss the mechanism of stress and strain in the elastic and plastic deformation. That's very easy question. I think that's a very basic when you start the structural geology in BSc classes. So firstly you are being talked about, or you are being taught about the stress and strain in the elastic and plastic deformation. Okay, so how these stresses they are developed, stresses and strain, they are developed in the elastic, plastic, okay, and the elastoplastic material. So means there are some combinations in which you have to talk about, and special focus has to be on the mechanism. Okay. 4b is discuss in detail the time relationship between the crystallization and deformation in mineral grains. That we have talked about. We have talked about two videos, I think. Two videos we have talked about the time relationship between the crystallization and deformation. Okay. 5a, what are the joints, and you have to explain the mechanism of joint formation and explaining the type of joints with neat sketches and their significance. So all in all, you have to write all about joints, their definitions, their mechanism, and the types of joints. Okay, so that you have to talk about, and significance also. Question number 5b, that is dealing with the discuss the mechanism and the significance of myeloid and cataclastic deformation. So what is the mechanism as well as the significance of myeloids and the cataclastic deformation? So how does it takes place and what is their mechanism and significance? Question number 5c, that what are the stereographic projections, and explain the use of cyclographic stereographic projection to analyze stress and strain in a particular rock. Okay, so all in all, the stereographic projection, their definitions and some points about them, and you have to also explain the use of cyclographic stereographic projection. Okay, for the projection or for the analyzation of the stress and strain in a rock. Okay, so that we have to discuss. Section D. So there is question number 6a, that is dealing with the describe in detail the thickness of various layers of the Earth's interior, their composition and their physical properties with neat sketches. Okay, so internal structure of the Earth, in which you have talked about the thickness of various layers. Okay, so the variation in the thickness and their composition and the physical properties. Physical properties like density or specific gravity or the some of the temperature, pressure. So that we have to talk about. And question number 6b, explain the geological features and accretionary waves of the lithosphere and asthenosphere with a neat sketch. So the geological features and the accretionary phases of the lithosphere and asthenosphere with a suitable diagram. So that we have to write down. Question number 7a, so describe the seismic belts and the seismic zones of Indian subcontinent. So what are the seismic belts, and what are the seismic zones in context of Indian subcontinent? So that you have to write. 7b is describe the paleomagnetism and its application for the determination of paleo position of India. Means what is the term defined as paleomagnetism, means their definition, and the application for the determining the paleo position of India. Means what was the position of India in ancient times, or in the Cretaceous time, Paleozoic time, Cenozoic time. Okay, so that, or the Archean times in the prehistoric period. So that you have to write down using the paleomagnetism. Question number 7c, that is dealing with the discuss the theory and the concept of plate tectonics with neat sketches. Theory and the concept of plate tectonics with the suitable diagrams or the neat sketches that we have to write. Section E. So firstly we will talk about the question number 8a, that is the late Cretaceous was a period of varied phases in the Indian subcontinent. Means there is a statement that is the late Cretaceous, that was a period of varied phases in the Indian subcontinent. Means how the late Cretaceous period has evolved and what was the variations in the phases in that particular time, especially in the Indian subcontinent. So that we have to write down with examples. Okay. 8b, there is a diagram. I think diagram is missing. I forgot to include the diagram, or I will provide the link in the description box. So from there you can see the diagram. So there was a diagram, and in a stratigraphic sequence, the evolutionary lineage of species A, B, and C, and the range of the M and O are shown. So in the diagram, these are being shown, and you have to divide the sequence into biostratigraphic zones based on both A and B. So A and B, that will be given in the diagram, and which of the zones that should be preferred for the correlation and why. So that you have to discuss on the basis of the diagrams. I forgot to, as I have already mentioned, that I forgot to include the diagram. I will provide the link in the description box from where you can see. And question number 9 is the give a broad classification of Shivalik group in tabular form. Okay, so you have to just be very sure that what is being asked. So you don't have to write in bullets or in the paragraphs. You have to just write a broad classification of Shivalik group in the tabular form. Means you have to draw a table. So like draw a table, and one side write down the name of the supergroups or the name of the formation and their ages, their and you have also been asked mention the characteristic fossils in each division. So you have to the name of the group, name of the formation, their lithology, their time period, and the fossils. So that we have to write down in a tabular form. Okay, you don't have to write in bullet form, that just start writing the in paragraphs. That you don't have to do. 9b's briefly describe the lithological succession of bark beds, link the stratigraphic sequence with the episodes of marine transgression and regression. Okay, so we all know that is the Cretaceous time period, was a very prominent time, that was a very prominent period for the marine transgression and regression. Okay, so in those terms you have to write down the lithological succession of bark beds. Question number 10, name the not question number 10, it's a 9C part. Name the areas in peninsular India affected by the Permian marine transgression and briefly describe the lithology and the fossil content. Okay, so that you have to write down the areas in peninsular India which have been affected by the Permian marine transgression. Okay, so that what you have to write down, that you have to write down the Umaria marine formation or Umaria formation, okay, of that time. If you have talked about, or if you would have studied about the Umaria marine bed, so in that sequence or in that sense you have to write down the answer. Okay, so that's little bit confusing, that directly you have not been asked about the Umaria marine formation or the Umaria formation, but you have been indirectly you have been asked. So if you have understood that the nature of the deposition of the beds or the nature of the Umaria beds, Umaria formation, then it will be very easy for you to understand or the write down the answer of this question. Okay, and section F, that is the paleontology section. So discuss with examples how microfossils are used as tracers of the deep sea currents. Okay, so how the microfossils, they are used as the tracers of the deep sea currents. And 10b is discuss the evolutionary trends or the evolutionary changes that took place in the facial sutures and the glabella of trilobites. So evolutionary changes which have taken place in the facial suture and the glabella of trilobite. So you have to write down about two features, that is the facial sutures and the glabella. So these two terms or these two factors you have to write down. Question number 11a, you have to describe the method of the separation of foraminifer from a soft shale or the mudstone. Okay, so that is you have to write down that how the method of the separation, means how the foraminifers, they are being separated from the soft shell or the mudstone. So there is a process for that. I don't remember the exact name of that process, but you have to treat the foraminifers or the cells, the organic cells from with the hydrochloric acid, some other acids that we have to write down. I don't remember the exact name of that process, but that you have to write. 11b is what is the pallial sinus in a bivalve, means what is pallial sinus in a bivalve, and you have to discuss the habitat of bivalves having pallial sinus, means the bivalves which have pallial sinus, so what is their habitat, that you have to write down. 11c is what is dimorphism in foraminifera, and write the morphological differences in the foraminiferal forms which originate due to the dimorphism. Okay, so that you have to write down. Now we will talk about the geology paper 2. So as you know, there is the mineralogy and geochemistry, igneous petrology, metamorphic petrology, sedimentology, environmental geology, and natural hazards. So that was in the previously in the 2016, 17, 18 or up to 19. So sedimentology was part of geology paper 2, but now as we have talked about, that is the 2020 syllabus, sedimentology has moved to the paper 1. Okay, so firstly we will talk about the compulsory section. So you have to write down firstly the short notes, the application of powder X-ray diffraction method in the study of silicate minerals, means what is the application of powder X-ray diffraction method in particular study of the silicate minerals. So that you have to write down. B, question number 1b is lanthanide contraction in the rare earth elements. 1c is eutectic crystallization and the related textures which are being formed. Okay, so eutectic crystallization and textures related to it, or the textural features related to it. 1d is the tectonomagnetic setting for the carbonatites, means what is the tectonic and the magnetic setting for the carbonatites. One is distinguish between the ACF and AKF diagram. Okay, so what is the difference, what is the differences between the ACF and AKF diagram. Okay, 1f is explain paired metamorphic belts. 1z is significance of cross bedding and current beddings. So what is the significance of these beddings? Okay, so best example is they are the paleo current indicators, they are the paleo environmental indicators, that from the study of the cross bedding and current beddings we can understand the paleoclimate, that what was the climatic conditions at the deposition or at the formation of these ripple marks or the cross bedding and current beddings, that we have to write down. 1h is distinguish between the arkose and Grevacchi. Okay, so you can distinguish between in terms of their sizes, their matrix, their textures. So in that sense you have to write the answer. 1i significance of PM10 or particulate matter 10 and its impact on the respiratory system. So we all know that is in air quality index, that is largely affected by the particulate matter 10 and particulate matter 2.5. so these particulate matters, they are generally being suspended in the air, and that play a very important role in the increase of the air pollution. Okay, so you have to write down their significance, the significance of PM10 and what is its impact on the respiratory system. Okay, so the special impact you have to write down on the respiratory system. Okay, and 1j the seismic zonation map of India, so that you have to write down. Now we come to the unit section, so section B. So firstly 2a question is discuss the structure, composition, physical and the optical properties of garnet. So as I have already told that you will get one question from the mineral family. Okay, so here you are getting the garnet family, and what we have to discuss, their structures, means what is their structure, means the silicon oxygen combination, their ratios, their composition, their physical and the optical properties. Question number 2b, derive an equation used in the radiometric uh, rubidium strontium age determination of the rocks and comment upon the Concordia and Discordia diagram. Okay, so you have to derive the equation of the radiometric rubidium strontium age determination and comment upon the Concordia and Discordia diagram. So that you have to write down in detail. Question number 3 is discuss symmetry elements of the normal class of the monoclinic system. Means what are the symmetry elements of the normal class of monoclinic system, and you have to add a note on the crystallographic notation. Okay. Question number 3b is what do you understand by the coordination number? When the definition of coordination number, discuss various types of silicate structures based on the coordination number. So that we have to write down, that the coordination number that play an important role in the silicate structures. So that we have to discuss. Question number 3c is discuss the geochemical classification of trace elements and give an account of the role of large ion lithophile elements or LILE elements in the magmatic crystallization. Okay, so geochemical classification of trace elements and role of LIL in the magmatic crystallization. Okay. Section C is you have to, question number 4a, you have to discuss the crystallization of a ternary magma citing an example of feldspar. Okay, so what is the, discuss the crystallization of ternary magma and example you have to give the of feldspar. Okay, so in the I think albite anorthite system, that we have to write down. Question number 4b, this what do you understand by the modal and the norm? Okay, the modal and the norm, and discuss the IUGS classification of basic and ultramafic rock or the ultra basic rocks, and you have to write down, add a note on the TAS alkali, total alkali silica diagram, that we have to write down. So that's a long question, I have to write down accordingly whatever has been asked. As we can see 4b, there is given modal and the norm. Also it's non, it's norm, NORM. Okay. 5a is discuss the incongruent melting, citing an example of the forsterite silica system. What is incongruent melting? And we have to write down the example of forsterite silica system and give an account of the reaction rim corona structure. Okay, so that's not pandemic corona structure, that's the igneous petrology, the igneous petrology forsterite silica system, the corona structure which is formed in the forsterite silica diagram, means corona structure which is formed as the rims of the minerals. Okay, so that we have to talk about. Question number B, that is discuss about the open and closed system of the magmatic crystallization. What are the open and closed system of magmatic crystallization? Add a note on the layer intrusion, layer igneous complexes. Okay. Question number C, that is discuss the age, duration and nature of the Deccan volcanism in India. Means their age, their duration, their nature of Deccan volcanism, and you have to add a detailed note on the and Pa Hui type of lava flows. Okay, so that you have to talk. Come back to section D, that is the metamorphic petrology and the processes. So question number 6a, that is dealing with the what do you understand by the porphyroblast, that what is the porphyroblast, and explain their significance in metamorphic terrains, citing an example of garnet in the mica system. Okay, so what do you understand means what is the porphyroblast, their definition, and you have to explain their significance in metamorphic terrains by giving an example of garnet in the mica schist. So when we were talking about the time relationship between crystallization and deformation, where there we have talked about that how the rocks are being formed, how they are being deformed, how they are being metamorphosed, and how the porphyroblast they are getting embedded in the rock system. Because what is the relationship between that deformation and the metamorphism? So that we have to talk about, means in the significance factor, the significance in the metamorphic terrain, that we have to write in detail. And question number 6b, that is describe the characteristic and the mineral assemblages of green schist facies of metamorphism. Okay, so the characteristics and the mineral assemblages of the green schist facies, and you have to add a note on the mutual relationship between the subfacies and the conditions of metamorphism. Okay, so that we have to write down. Question number 7a, that is dealing with the give a brief account of blue schist and eclogite facies of metamorphism. Okay, so brief account of the blue schist and the eclogite facies of metamorphism and their relationship to the plate tectonics, means what is their relationship with the plate tectonics theory, that you have to study or that you have to write down. 7b, that is what is the principle of garnet biotite thermometry, discuss its limitation and applications to the metamorphic rocks. Okay, so garnet biotite thermometry, that we have to discuss in detail. Question number 7c, write a critique on the facies concept of metamorphism. Okay, so facies concept of metamorphism given by Scola, so that we have to write down. Section E, that is the sedimentology section. So question number 8a, that is dealing with what are the heavy minerals, and discuss the applications of heavy minerals in the determination of provenance. Heavy minerals means which have the higher density or the higher density in their nature. Okay, so that is the heavy minerals, and what is the application of heavy minerals in the determination of the provenance study, means in the study of the provenance, how they are useful, means their significance, that we have to write down. Question number 8b, how do you distinguish between the Arkose and Gravachy and discuss their depositional environment? How will you distinguish between Arkose and Gravachy? So this question was in the compulsory questions also, and it's in unit question also, as you can see. So distinguish means differentiate between. How you can differentiate? So you can differentiate on the basis of the nature of the rock, the composition, the particular minerals present in the Arkose and Gravachy, and what is their matrix properties. Okay, the matrix or the cementing material if present. So cementing material, what the matrix is in the clastic rocks, that same becomes the cement in the non-clastic rocks. Okay, so matrix percentage, their textural composition, their variations, so that we have to talk about the differences. Okay, and we have to also discuss their depositional environment. Question number 9a, you have to discuss the physico-chemical factors which play an important role in the sedimentation and what are the products of sedimentation. So that we have to write down. Question number B, that is discuss in detail about the formation of clay minerals, means how they are formed and give your remarks on their environment of formation, means how the formation of the clay minerals and their environment of formation, that we have to write down. And question number C part, that is describe the concept of sedimentary environment and add a note on their parameters, that what are the sedimentary environment, and you have to add a note also on the parameters related to the sedimentary environment. And now we come back to the environmental geology and the natural hazards, section F you can see. So question number 10A, what is the coastal erosion, and discuss the causes and the mitigation of coastal erosion. Means what are the definition, there discuss the causes, means how they are causing and how they are occurring the coastal erosion, and how we can mitigate, okay, how we can prevent the coastal erosion. And you have to write down or also add a note on the such indicator or such incidences with reference to Indian context. Means the coastal erosion or the mitigation in Indian context you have to write down. 10B, discuss the causes and impacts of an earthquake. Means what are the causes, the tectonic and non-tectonic causes, and their impacts on the earthquake, impacts of an earthquake, and give an account of the precautionary measures to be taken against earthquake hazard. Means what are the precautionary measures which we can take to prevent the earthquake hazards. So that we have to write in all in details. And 11A, how are the satellite imageries you are used in the environmental planning. Means for the planning of a better environment, how we can use the satellite imageries, and you have to give an account of the factors which control the landslides. So that you have to write down in detail. And question number 11B, what do you understand by the global warming and climate change? The definition or the basic understanding of the global warming and climate change, and discuss the effect of carbon dioxide on greenhouse effect, the effect of CO2 on greenhouse effect, that you have to write down. And 11C, what is the cryosphere, and discuss the effect of ozone depletion on ice sheets and the sea level fluctuation. So discuss the effect, means the cryosphere, and discuss the effect of ozone depletion. So ozone, when ozone will deplete, the sun or the ultraviolet rays that will enter directly onto the earth. So what will be if its effect? So that will melt the ice sheets or the glaciers, they will melt is very frequently, and the water or the melt water that will enter into the oceans. Okay, so all in all, the amount of water or the quantity of water that will increase in the oceans. Okay, so that is effect, or the discuss the effects of ozone depletion on the ice sheets and sea level fluctuation. So obviously when ice sheets will melt, the water that will get entered into the sea level, so or sea water in the oceans, so obviously they will increase the sea level or fluctuate, the sea level fluctuation will take place. Okay, so that we have to write down. So this was our discussion about the 2017-2016 paper, geology paper 1 and geology paper 2, and in the next video we will talk about the paper 3rd and the hydrogeology part. Okay, thank you.